Cooking with Cole.
Welcome to Cooking with Cole. This is our second episode called Pulled Pork Burritos with a Crunch. I guarantee we're back and better with even better recipes than before. Now, today our pulled pork burrito is going to consist of 6 main ingredients. You can definitely find these either in your kitchen or at the grocery store. Really cheap. Now, first we're going to work with some romaine lettuce hearts, and we're going to show you how to chip them out of them later. Red and green bell peppers. These are going to add a nice little kick to the party. White onion. You want about a quarter of a big head of onion, or maybe half of a small head of onion. If you have a really small onion, just cut the whole thing. It's no big deal. We're going to be working with corn tortillas, and we're going to make these into nice little crunchy strips to go inside our burrito. Good textural contrast. We're going to be working with a can of mystery beans today. Mystery beans are the best kind of beans. We'll figure what they are later. Now, we're also going to be working with some nice pulled pork. Now, I got this pulled pork from just some leftover pork that was cooked in a crock pot with some barbecue sauce, I'd say about a quarter of a cup, and about 1/8 of a cup of hot sauce, cooked down, seasoned up. It's pretty good. This is just what's left over. Found in my fridge, was like, hey, let's make burritos. Now, before we start cooking the meat, I really want to get to these vegetables first. We're going to sweat out these vegetables and get them nice and sauteed. Turn up the heat. You're going to work on medium-high heat, especially if you're going to sweat some vegetables. Good amount of oil. This might actually be a little too... sorry. Pour some of this other pan. Now, we're going to pour these babies in there. Don't be afraid if you don't hear any sizzle, because it's going to come. You're just going to want these to come up to a nice high heat. And we're going to sweat these for just a little bit. Add some salt, because that'll bring out a lot of the natural juices. And I like using kosher salt. I don't like using table salt. Table salt's just gross. Let those sit. Add a couple dashes of black pepper. You can hear them, can't you? No, don't cook me. Too late. Alright, now let's start working on this pulled pork. Now, there's definitely a lot of residual fat in this pork, but definitely not enough to coat the whole pan and keep it from, totally sticking. So, we're just going to shovel these guys in. And this is, again, over medium heat. And remember, I'm making enough, so I'm feeding like my whole family right now. Now remember, this is cooked in barbecue sauce and hot sauce, so it's already going to have a little kick, and it's already going to have a nice little sweetness to it. But remember, we're making burritos. We want all these differences going on. Just going to move this bowl over here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little tiny bit of water to that heat. About 1/8 of a cup of water, just going to pour it on. It's really going to deglaze the pan. Hey, what are you doing? Alright, now we're going to show you how to make the tortillas for the burrito. I just took a couple of plain corn tortillas, and what we're really going to do is just slice them into nice thin strips. And you want to do this pressing forward and coming back slowly. You just want to make these into thin strips. You can make them thicker to your liking. I like mine, whatever I do, because usually I'm not consistent, and I just do things, and I start to sing when I'm under pressure. Perfect. Now, we're just going to take these nice strips and put them in with our other strips. This is about 7 to 9 little tortillas. You might see this little garlic clove I have here. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to crush it to get the skin off. And we're going to dice it up nice and fine and throw it in with our vegetables. You might ask, Cole, why didn't you just throw this in earlier? Well, because if you throw garlic in with hot vegetables, you really lose the garlic taste. Dice this up nice and fine. It's actually pretty perfect right there. Scoop method. Get your ingredients on your knife, put it in your hand. Alright, we're going to bring this over to our vegetables. Now, Might want to keep adding oil to these guys every once in a while, just so that way the pan doesn't dry out. You see our vegetables are already getting nice little caramelization on them. Now, you can see I have a small pan of oil waiting for me right here. Now, you don't just want to throw in your tortillas because maybe you don't know if your oil's hot enough. What you do, take a little piece of tortilla. If it starts bubbling, it's hot enough. If it doesn't, too cold, let it heat up again. Now, you're going to take about 5 to 6 strips at a time and just kind of lay them down in there. You just want to let them boil. Alright, we cooked all our tortilla strips. I'm going to drain them nice on a paper towel. And, you know, before you start throwing these things around, you really want to take advantage of this opportunity. All this oil is still on the strips. You might want to turn off the oil. Don't want that to burn down your house. Then take a little bit of your kosher salt and just drizzle it over. Perfect. Now, the best time, mystery beans. What kind of beans will we get today? And it's refried beans! We'll let those guys heat up for a bit. Now we're going to come over here to our lettuce. Alright, now we're going to siphon out our lettuce. What you want to do is you want to break the spine just a little, just so you can roll up your lettuce nice and together. What you want to do is you want to kind of push the knife away from you and just cut these little lettuce rolls. Work quickly, especially if you're working with not so crisp lettuce. And as soon as you get down to this white part, toss it. Or give it to the cameraman. Now, we have plenty of this lettuce for our burritos. We also have plenty of salsa. Oh, and who invited guacamole to the party? Yes. And I think their friend Sour Cream decided to show up. Now let's bring this all together. So I just started putting my beans on my tortilla, which I grilled right on my stove. Gonna take a nice bit of this pulled pork. Gonna take a few chips. Come over here to my vegetables. Okay. Spread those guys on. Now we're gonna come over here to our cold station. Some nice romaine lettuce hearts, and we have some raw onion with a little bit of crushed bell pepper and a little bit of that onion we chopped up earlier. Throw it on, nice and bright. Get a little bit of sour cream on. Get a little bit of our salsa. Finally, I'm going to come in with some nice leftover guacamole, which is just avocados with a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of salt, nicely mashed up, a little chunky, but it's alright. Alright, now we're going to fold over. Oh yes. Cole, this isn't going to fit. Well, just like my high school. See that crunch? And here we go. Our nice pulled pork burritos with a crunch on Cooking with Cole.